Good evening, guys. Thank you so much for coming tonight to our June 20th business meeting. Can we all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you guys so much for coming tonight. Quick roll call. We are joined by 7 of our trustees, our superintendent of schools, Dr. Timothy Harney, our assistant superintendent for curriculum and instruction, Dr. Ted Fulton, our assistant superintendent for finance and operations, Mr. Luis Fronterio, our district legal counsel, Mr. Edward McCarthy, our great district clerk, Ms. Suzanne Benetti, and can we have a big round of applause for our student reps last night? And it's her birthday. Just a few announcements before we get into the celebration of all the athletics. There are 2 opportunities for the community to participate during the Board of Ed meeting. The first is just before the board takes up its agenda, and the second follows the disposition of all agenda items. If you'd like to speak tonight, we ask that you do come to the podium. You please state your name. You must be a resident of the Bayport Blue Point School District or voted in by a majority vote of the board. As always, in the back, you'll see we are live streamed, and this will be posted live on Board Docs. And if you'd like to follow the school on Twitter, you can follow us at BBP Schools, or you can follow Dr. Harney at BBP Soup. But at this time, I just want to turn it over to Dr. Harney. But before I do, I just want to say thank you guys so much for coming tonight. We have so much to celebrate this year, not only with athletics, but as we saw in football this year, we talked a little bit about character. I know you're going to hear that big word tonight because you guys have been not only amazing on the field, but also off the field. So I want to say thank you so much to the coaches for all the time you put in. Thank you to Mr. Mullins. And obviously, thank you to the athletes for going above and beyond in the school. And thank you so much to the parents for everything you do to support Bayport Blue Point. So thank you guys so much. Dr. Harney?
Thank you very much, Mr. Miller. We're going to stray a little bit tonight. So first of all, I would like to welcome everyone here as well and congratulate everyone. We have a number of students and staff members that are going to be recognized tonight, from our girls softball team to our girls who went to the States for track and our state champion as well. And then obviously our girls lacrosse team state champions. And then we have a prior board member that we'd like to honor, do our Teachers of the Month tonight. We have our Scope Shining Stars, and then we're doing some of our students for the biliteracy and community service. So we have a lot of things to celebrate tonight. And it's often that I say this, that people often ask me, what do I love about BBP? And this is exactly it. Seeing everybody here, seeing the auditorium filled with all the accolades that you have all earned. So I really would like to thank you and congratulate you, from our students to our staff, to our coaches, to our board for all their support, to our administrators for everything they do. But it truly is a total team effort, and I just really would like to congratulate everybody and thank you for all that you do. Saying that, I'd like to get tonight's program started, and I'd like to invite up Mr. Mullins, our Director of Athletics, who's going to kick off the evening. Welcome, Mr. Mullins.
Thank you, Dr. Harney. I'd like to start off by thanking the Board of Education for all their support and for taking the time to acknowledge our student athletes. Before I call up our first coach, I'd be remiss if I didn't share some accomplishments from this past year. During the 2022-23 school year, we captured 10 division and league championships, 5 Suffolk County championships, 3 Long Island championships, 1 New York State championship. We had a student athlete win the New York State championship in 2 events. 7 teams were named Outstanding Sportsmanship Team, which means that when we win with class. And finally, and probably the most coveted, 24 of our varsity teams were named Scholar Athlete by the New York State Public High School Athletic Association. And we were named an Academic School of Excellence by the state as well. This honor exemplifies that not only are our student athletes performing on the field, but more importantly, they are doing it in the classroom as well. And that's a testament to them, their coaches, and our teachers. Without further ado, I'd like to call up the coach of our Long Island Championship softball team, Coach Nicole Marchetta.
I'd like to thank the Board of Ed for recognizing the varsity softball team's accomplishments. I would also like to thank the administration, Coach Riley, the grounds workers, all the parents, our fans, and the entire community for all of your support. I'm truly blessed to have had the opportunity to coach such a special group of young ladies. They are the kindest, most passionate, hardworking girls that I've coached. Going back 4 years, these seniors, they lost their year to COVID. They had an abbreviated season in 2021 where we competed for the county championship, being forced to play back-to-back-to-back days. That's hard on any pitcher. And in 2022, we were plagued by injury. However, still earning a spot in the playoffs. But what those years taught this group of girls was resiliency. Whenever they got knocked down, they always got back up. They worked harder and found a way to overcome obstacles by demonstrating grit and determination. Anyone that was at the Long Island Championship got to witness this team once again overcome challenges that were out of our control. They fought for 12 innings. They played for 4 hours straight. They played hard, they never gave in, and they persevered. At this time, I would like to call up and congratulate the 2023 Softball Suffolk County and Long Island champions. Ladies, I couldn't be more proud of you.
Congratulations, girls, on an outstanding season. I'd now like to call up our girls' track and field coach, Mr. Vin Garrell. Before I hand him the microphone, I know he's going to kill me for doing this, but back a couple of months ago, Vin was named New York State Track and Field Coach of the Year. What a tremendous honor, but it's certainly well-deserved. Coach Vin Garrell. Sorry.
Thank you very much. I think that might be the 6th or 7th time Mr. Mullins presented me that award, so it's starting to get a little rough. I want to start by thanking everybody for the support, the Board of Ed, administration, Tim, Lisa, custodial staff, everybody that helps out, the parents, the athletes. I mean, it really is a full team effort all around, and it's pretty special in this district that everybody. If you would have told us, 5 years ago, looking at the enrollment numbers, that we would have this many talented teams in the auditorium celebrating championships, I just wouldn't have believed the math was possible, but here we are. This season, the girls' track and field team did very, very well. Numbers might not show it, but in winter and spring, I think we lost the league championship by combined both seasons 8 points. Lost 2 county championships by a combined total of 12 points. But one of the nice things about track and field is that despite narrowly missing team victories, the athletes and relay teams were still able to get accolades on their own. So this season, at the end of the state qualifier, we had several kids advance to the state championships. First was Caitlin Stile in the 100-meter hurdles, in which by the time she finished the state meet, she finished 7th in New York State. Maggie Yost, you can clap. Maggie Yost qualified in the 400-meter hurdles and ended up 8th in New York State. Emma Caliendo qualified in the 800-meter run and took 13th in the state. The 4x4 relay ran a 4 minutes and 2 seconds, which is just a couple seconds off the school record, and ran very, very well upstate. Didn't place on the podium, but that's because of decisions we had to make with personnel. The 4x8 meter relay took third in New York State. That was Maddie Jensen, Ava and Ansley Brogan, and Sophia McGinnis. They also just got back from nationals this past weekend where they ran a season best 9:22 in the 4x8, which is 2 seconds off the school record. I don't want to forget anybody. Let me just look in the faces in the crowd. Sophia McGinnis, if you follow my Twitter account or if you're paying attention, it has had a phenomenal year. She wrapped it up this 2 weekends ago at the state meet by being a state champ in the 1,500 meter run and the 3,000 meter run. And then probably what's easiest to comprehend, because nobody knows what 1,500 or 3,000 meters is Soph just ran the national meet, took 8th in the country in the mile, where she ran a mile time of 4 minutes and 44 seconds. Her time is less than half a second off the Suffolk County record and is the fastest mile run by anybody on Long Island in over a decade. All that being said, congratulations to all student athletes in attendance. Very proud of all of you. I don't believe, on the spring girls track team, nobody graduates. So, we're looking to bigger and better things next year as well. Thank you very much, everyone. Oh, picture? Guys, they need you up for a picture.
Do you have the mic? Can you do something with the mic? Finn. Our final presentation tonight is going to be our girls lacrosse team who made school history. To present this honor will be our varsity coach, Ryan Gick. He was named Suffolk County Coach of the Year and was also named Newsday Long Island Coach of the Year. Certainly well deserved. So, Coach Gick.
Thank you, Mr. Mullins. I'd just like to echo the sentiments that were already stated here. Board of Education, administration, parents, Mr. Mullins, the amount of support we've had the last few weeks, the last month, this playoff run has been second to none. Softball team, congratulations on an amazing season. Track girls, all the same to you guys as well. This community over the years has been unbelievable in the way it supports its programs. There's so many faces out here that I'd love to thank for being on our sidelines, an encouraging word, being part of building this thing. For me personally, this is 15 plus years in the making of a dream of bringing something to this school district, and to the 27 girls you see sitting there, the understanding that doing something special lasts a lifetime. There's two people in the room, Coach Jensen, Coach Bruckner, who are former coaches in this program, who helped lay the groundwork to a day like this happening. Alumni parents, alumni. I've been saying to everybody, trying to really put forth like what it means to have this happen for everyone that's been a part of it is what is the most important thing to me. Not just this hanging around our neck or a plaque that we have out there, that we all did this together and accomplished something through a lot of heartache and a lot of hard work. I'm just super proud of this program, this school district. We said a few weeks back, it's probably a month now, at our senior dinner, there's no greater feeling than, spending time with your best friends playing for your hometown. That goes away when you leave here. And you guys have, all of you, the softball girls, track girls, and my girls as well, you guys have something that, you could always speak to, 30, 40 years down the road as a group. And for the lacrosse girls, we talked about early in the year, what's your bond going to be? And you guys have created one, and it's quite a legacy. So I'm super proud of you guys. So thank you once again to everybody for all your support over the years and making this happen. Your 2023 New York State champ, girls lacrosse team.
This is hilarious. I wish I had a phone right now.
Thank you guys so much again. At this time, we're going to turn over to Ms. Kane. She has a special announcement for a School Board Service Award. As you know, Mr. Broski is here, and we're going to speak about him and make him feel uncomfortable right now.
Each year, the Nassau-Suffolk School Boards Association presents awards. This award is given for School Board Service Award. It's presented to honor a Board of Education members with at least one full term and who is voluntarily retiring from board service. We're proud to nominate Jason Borowski. Mr. Borowski stepped up to serve on the Bayport Blue Point Board of Education and successfully completed one term. During his tenure, he was a dedicated trustee who listened to community's concerns and led with logic and reason, while always keeping the best interests of our students and community members in mind. He supported more opportunities for our high school students to attend BOCES programs and advocated for the budgetary inclusion of our middle school's musical. While Jason has moved on from school board service, he's highly involved in our community, on the middle school PTA board, active in the Johnny Mack Foundation, and president of the Blue Point Civic. He was instrumental in bringing the community together to purchase the St. Ursula Retreat Center and convert this former convent into a glorious public library that has become the beloved heart of our community. Most recently, he agreed to be the Booster Club treasurer for next year. Jason's continued service will leave a lasting legacy on our community. Come on up, Jason. Congratulations.
Congrats, Jason. Congrats, Mr. Borowski, well deserved. We appreciate everything you do and everything you continue to do for our school district and also our community. Thank you, sir. Well deserved. At this time, we're going to turn it over to Dr. Harney for the Scope Shining Star Awards. Before that, he's going to be doing Teacher of the Month.
Good evening, and again, congratulations to everyone tonight. I'm going to start by doing our Teachers of the Month. We're going to go from February through the end of the year. So at this time, I would ask Mrs. Rowell to come to the front if she's here. I believe she is. Yes, she is. So let me just read a little something that was said about her, make her feel a little uncomfortable as well. Here we go. This month, so this is for the month of February. This month, Academy Street would like to recognize Kim Rowell as our Teacher of the Month. Kim is an educator who goes above and beyond for not just her students, but for her colleagues as well. She is a dedicated teacher that excels at making sure her lessons are engaging and the students are learning. She brings a joy, love, fun, and happiness to her classroom. All of her students adore her. They talk about her and get excited when they see her years after they've left her classroom. She is patient, kind, and knows exactly what each student needs to be successful. As a colleague, Kim has welcomed student teachers and has mentored new teachers. She works side by side with her colleagues to help plan lessons or simply be there to talk to. Kim is always willing to lend a helping hand, whether it's building a bookshelf, preparing and collaborating for a lesson, or speaking on their behalf at a BBP TA building rep meeting. She has served on countless committees, has been on the union exec board, has taught in multiple buildings, and consistently volunteers to run or participate in school or district events. When you think of someone you can rely on, someone who works tirelessly for her students, and someone who is a role model for new and seasoned teachers, you think of Kim Rowell. Just as a side note, one of the things they had talked about in here is it talks about students talking about her years after the fact. Well, here at the high school, they have a tradition of this thing called recognition of excellence, where students actually select teachers that have had an impact on their lives. Ms. Rowell was chosen this year by a student, so that really tells you exactly what she's all about, so I want to thank her for that. We often talk of the idea of being a go-to. Ms. Rowell is definitely a go-to. And I will share something else with everyone else here tonight, which she probably does not want me to do. She's also the Teacher of the Year. So if we can just congratulate Mrs. Rowell. I'm not sure, is Miss Antico here? Don't know if she can make it. So she is our Teacher of the Month for March, so I will hold this for her and I will bring this to her, but I would like to congratulate Miss Antico as well, if we can all give her a round of applause. Ms. Cameronzulli, I believe I did see you. Are you here with us? Yes, come on down. Congratulations. I'd like to read to her as well what was said. This teacher is an exceptional educator and an all-around wonderful person who has contributed 30-plus years to the Bayport Blue Point community. She arrives at school every day with an upbeat and positive outlook. She is endlessly patient with her students and is kind, gentle, but firm when correcting behaviors of her more challenging students. She always takes on a student teacher and provides meaningful and supportive mentoring and guidance to future educators. She's a champion mentor for the new staff, as well as seasoned veteran staff members, and a selfless listener to the real and mundane problems that sometimes weigh us down. She will literally drop everything to listen, lend support, and problem solve with peers, be it personal or professional in nature. She's a strong advocate for the colleagues and has a knack for speaking candidly with administrators in a proactive and respectful manner. She has spent years representing our interests as a member of the BBP TA Executive Board, the Safe School Committee, and the BLIRT Committee. This teacher is heading into the twilight of her career. We'd like to recognize she is retiring as well. We are going to miss her deeply. And rather than sit back and be on cruise control, she's always looking to improve her teaching and change with the endless educational shifts that come our way, including admirable dedication to the application of technology to drive instruction and student engagement. She has a sincere smile, so many couple of minutes of existence for so many things that would have taken most of us hours to do, and is selfless representation of the many things that make this profession so rewarding. This teacher exemplifies what it means to be a go-to person for students and staff alike. She's more than worthy of being Teacher of the Month for the month of April. Congratulations. believe Miss Lyons was unable to, but I'd like to recognize her as well. She is our Teacher of the Month for May, so if we can just please give her a round of applause. And then our Teacher of the Month, who happens to be with us here also celebrating his student athletes today, is Mr. Ongaro, if he can come on down here. I see you have the whole crew here. So, this month, the Bayport Blue Point Teachers Association would like to recognize someone who has been a go-to person for many of the faculty and staff members. This teacher always makes himself available to speak with and support his fellow workers, both inside and outside of the school day, and many of us in the room have called upon him for help at one time or another. He is a passionate and vital member in our association and true leader in the Bayport Blue Point community. He fights for us day in and day out and holds true to what he believes in. He is fully dedicated to his role as a teacher and a coach. As an educator, he takes a subject that many students fear and transforms it, it's physics for those of you who don't know that, transforms it into something that is approachable and makes students feel successful. In fact, he is one of the few teachers tasked with getting seniors to pass a Regents exam. He has made this look easy since the first day of teaching. As a coach, he has established a track program here at BBP to be among the best in the state, and his influence over the athletes is evident inside the classroom and beyond. Many student athletes he coaches are among the best students we have, and it is a tribute to the discipline and work ethic that he helps them to develop. This teacher was also our youngest building representative and sat on the executive board of the Teachers Association before he was even tenured in the district. He was an integral part of forming the Joint Labor Management Benefit Trust Fund, which provides several benefits to its members. He is currently our Teachers Retirement System delegating with our Teachers Association Vice President. And as we heard before, he's the coach of New York State for the year. People that didn't know that, so congratulations to him. And he's also our Teacher of the Month for June. Congratulations. Yeah. I was like, who wrote that? A long time ago, you know? The real thing I was thinking, Christmas. That's exactly right. Okay. Thanks, man. You're very welcome. Congratulations. We have 3 other awards here for staff members. So the Scope Educational Services does an award that they call the Shining Stars. And what it is we're able to nominate staff members for this award, where they actually go to a dinner with all representatives from the Long Island districts. So this year we had 3 winners there. So the first one I'd like to bring up is Ralph Mag. Ralph, are you here with us? Yes, he is in the back. Ralph has been serving as the chief custodian for the past several years. He's been in this role during the height of COVID and successfully led our building crews through all aspects of the pandemic. He puts a great deal of care and time into everything that he does. His leadership has helped transform this department into a child-centered group, always looking to make improvements to benefit our students. His answer is never no. He is a forward-thinking and in short time has had a tremendous impact on a district. He's one of truly the people who work behind the scenes and allows all this to happen. So really, I'd like to thank him and congratulate him on being one of the Scope Shining Stars. Is Mrs. Hall here? Come on down. So Mrs. Hall was nominated for one of our support staff. So Christine Hall is an innovative, passionate pioneer, student-centered, and dynamic. As the Director of Food and Nutrition Services, so if any of you guys want something to eat, this is your person. All right, make your request here. She ensures our students receive healthy, balanced meals and promotes lifelong healthy eating habits while maintaining state and federal guidelines. The website she created ensures that all parents, guardians are apprised of what our children are afforded with our cafeterias. Ms. Hall has been an integral member of our district's wellness committee, is dedicated to our students' health, and takes pride in safeguarding their abilities to learn through healthy nutrition. BBP prides itself on affording every student the best possible learning experience while maintaining a positive culture. There is no question that our nutritional program is an integral part of our education system. Ms. Hall is an exemplary employee and an asset to our school community. One of the most coveted honors one can do in their career is to leave a legacy and to have made an impact on the lives of students. Ms. Hall has done that here at Bayport Blue Point School District. Congratulations to Mrs. Hall. And our last Scope Service Award was for our teacher service. And at this point, I'd like to bring Mrs. Yannick up front. Ms. Yannick is one of our school social workers. Ms. Yannick is a Blue Point Elementary School social worker, but also been an invaluable member of the district. So it's a true leader, consistently going above and beyond so that the needs of all students are met. Ms. Yannick works with the community on everything from filling out important paperwork to making sure families have everything they need for the holidays. For the school, she pushes into classrooms and plans assemblies on all things SEL, meets with students who may need some extra love or just want to spend some time with her. She was a huge contributor to setting up the school's wellness room for the students and holds a weekly yoga class after school for faculty and staff. Mrs. Yannick is awesome. She's the best. She rocks. Congratulations, Ms. Yannick. All right, we are getting there. We have two more recognitions that we'd like to do tonight. At this point, I'd like to invite up Mr. Haas, who's going to be recognizing our students that received the Seal of Biliteracy. It's up to you. I didn't know if you did.
I'm not allowed to use the podium. All right, first of all, before I get into the awards that I'm presenting, I do want to take this moment to congratulate our softball team, track team, and lacrosse team. The amount of hard work that you guys put into it, it's seen every day. And to also see what you do in the school and in the classroom is tremendous, in the way you've conducted yourselves and represented our school and our community. You've not only made our entire community proud, you've made me extremely proud just to see you and know that you're representing the blue and gold every day. So congratulations and cherish this moment. So the first award I have the privilege of presenting this evening is the Seal of Biliteracy. This is an award that started, or a recognition that started a couple of years ago within New York State, which recognizes those students who, what it says in the guidelines is, are proficient in not only English language, but also a language other than English or a world language. But really what we see here from our students at Bayport Blue Point is they excel in those languages, and they go through not only excelling in the English classroom, but then they go into either French or Spanish, and their academics, their grades are high, and then they go through during their senior year a project in which they really immerse themselves within a topic, and then wind up having to present that. And having been fortunate enough to sit on one of the panels to watch some of the students present those, it is truly amazing to see the work that they put into it, the knowledge base that they have developed, and then also see the way they communicate the language is really remarkable. So I want to congratulate all the students. I do want to also thank the three teachers who really spearhead the Seal of Biliteracy program here in the high school, and that is Mr. Scharf and Miss McGuire within Spanish, and Miss Allen, who's here this evening, within French. And I'm actually going to ask Miss Allen, she doesn't notice, to come up so that she can help hand out some of the medals. So as I call you up, please come up. You'll get a certificate from Mr. Zarconi, and then you'll get the medal from Miss Allen, and those are to be worn at graduation. Maeve Arancio. Logan Cerrone. Katie Clare. Brady Clark. Emily Denton. Sean Druckenmiller. Hayden Eisfeld. Christina Fish. Abigail Fisher. Nora Fryer. Max Gallagher. Felicia Giglio. Samantha Hands. Casey Hessian. Quinn Hill. Kate Hughes. Shannon Jones. Michael Kiernan. Ellie Long. Olivia Lasardo. Olivia Maysky. Ryan Mattamore. Kathleen McKillop. Erin McMahon. Connor McNeil. Melvin Paredes Sanchez. Jesse Renison. Ella Romano. Kieran Schneck. Patrick Shanahan. Liam Stemler. Derek Voley. Madison Wabrecht. And Aaron Westman. (2022-23) Seal of Biliteracy students. So this is the next one. And the final recognition presentation this evening that we have is for community service done during the 22-23 school year. This is a program that we started here at the high school. This was the second year of it, and it affords students the opportunity to be recognized for something that they typically do on their own. They don't do it for the recognition, but we felt it important, especially within this community. You see it all the time, people giving for others, and these students throughout the halls of Bayport Blue Point are constantly putting themselves out there and helping others. And they don't, like I said, they don't do it for the recognition, but we felt it was important to honor them. Before I call out their names, this year in terms of the submissions from the students, there was over 4,950 hours of community service that were submitted from the students of Bayport Blue Point. There are 4 criteria with the award. There's a recognition award, a bronze award, which goes from 20 to 29 hours, a silver award, which is 30 to 39, and the students that we're recognizing this evening have received the gold award, which is 40-plus hours of community service. Some students that are on this have done over 750 hours of community service over the course of the past year. So it really shows what you've seen tonight. Not only do they do it in the classroom, they do it on the field, but they're also there in our community. So congratulations to all of them, and I'd like to call them up. Catherine Alien. Kate Anglem. Alyssa Early. Saleha Bajwa. Nina Beebe. Dylan Bickel. Autumn Bollinger. Matthew Bowman. Finn Capozzi. Melissa Carney. Olivia Carroll. Jean Sestaro. Alexa Damiano. Olivia Davis. Matthew Decatur. Emily Denton. Taylor DiBiase. Benjamin Hemelechek. Madeline Jensen. Jillian Kaler. Tyler Cruz. Christina Lynn. Olivia Lasardo. Amelia Maldonado. Emma Novak. Ava O'Rourke. Lillian Prince. Isabel Ryer. Leah Richard. Selena Rodriguez. Declan Chug. Sophia Schultz. Allie Stensinger. Kai Tavalia. Alexandra Blachos. Kaylin Walsh. and Amanda Woods. Congratulations, and most of all, thank you for all that you do for our community.
Just want to thank you guys so much for coming. Can you stay for one more quick one? You don't even have to sit down. Just want to thank you guys so much on behalf of the board, on behalf of the administrative team. We are so blessed to live in this community because people like you, and that's why this community is so special. But we do want to give congratulations to Emily Denton. This is her last meeting. It's also her birthday, so we wanted to give her a special gift and thank her for a great year. We're so lucky to have you, Emily. Thank you so much. And thank you guys for coming tonight. We appreciate it. Have a good night. Love to have you. Suzanne, love to have you. Lou, love to have you. Suzanne, come on. Yeah. Have a good night, guys. Thank you so much. We're going to skip you and go to her. Can I skip you and go to her so she can get out of here?
Yes.
Ms. Denton, we are all looking forward to your last report. We're going to skip Dr. Harney. That's how special you are. We're skipping Dr. Harney for you.
Thank you. You don't have to skip it for me.
We can.
I'm still going to do what I said, so you just do.
All right, well, because we went through all the sports stuff and everything, I just wanted to say thank you to you guys. It's been an absolute pleasure to sit in this position, and I learned a lot, and it was a really great experience. And I want to thank Mr. Haas for nominating me for this position last year, and thank you to Dr. Harney and Mr. Miller and everybody on the board. I absolutely loved it when I was a kid. I looked up to everybody that sat in this chair, so I was really excited to get to do it this year, and it was an awesome experience. So thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
I'll just go and give a quick report, but really, again, happy birthday to Emily. Congratulations. You're going to love South Carolina. You're going to enjoy yourself, and I know you're going to make us proud. So congratulations. Just real quick is, as Emily had said, all the sports you've heard, really just kind of an update is this week is really about moving up ceremonies and graduations. So over the last 2 weeks, we've done the pre-K, we've done the kindergartners, and now this week, today was academies moving up, tomorrow is Sylvan, and then Thursday is Blue Point, and then we also have the middle school tomorrow night, and then obviously graduation for Friday night. Let's hope we're holding out for no rain, so keep all the good thoughts for that. But really, that's it from my report, and I just would like to congratulate everyone here again tonight, and looking forward to these last couple of celebrations. And again, congratulations, Emily.
Thank you, Dr. Harney. So Emily, if you want to go, we definitely get it. And just to our parents, thank you so much for sharing her with us this year. And thank you guys so much. You know what kind of special person you guys raised here. And thank you so much for giving it to her, giving her this year. Thanks, guys. Emily, appreciate it. And the name tag. Go enjoy your birthday. Thanks, guys. Any community new business? Not hearing any. Can I have a motion to leave the business meeting and enter the school-wide safety plan public hearing? Ms. Cerrone, second. Ms. Pignataro, all in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries 7-0. Dr. Harney?
Thank you very much, Mr. Miller. So we have 2 requirements tonight. So we had to go to the public hearing, as we're going to do 2 quick presentations for you that Mr. Zarcone's going to do for you. One is in regards to our safety plan. Just to kind of frame it out for people, is the safety plan that you're going to see, or we're going to speak about a little bit, is really just going to talk about changes that we had to add as per the state. Also, we can't go into the individual buildings plans because obviously they are confidential. So we're just going to do a quick overview of the district safety plan and really the changes between last year and this year. And then also we have the smart schools. So many of you may have heard us talk about the smart schools bond that came out in, I want to say it was 2016-17. We were originally allocated about 1.5 million at that time. We put in an initial proposal at that time for about 1.1. Due to everything else that happened within the pandemic, due to the pandemic and everything, we finally have gotten approval to make our second submission. So we're just going to give you an update on that. Again, that will be somewhat quick as well because it has to do with safety. So again, we can't go into that too much. So we just want to give you a framework. Each of these has a 30-day, you can make a remark to us if there are any changes. And then at the August meeting, they would both be approved. And then we would apply for our Smart Schools funding. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, Mr. Zarcone. And thank you very much for doing this for us tonight, putting this together. Appreciate it.
Are we waiting for a crowd to come back in, or? Okay. Good evening, everyone. So doing the district-wide safety plan, it's covered under the Safe Schools Against Violence in Education Act through NYSED School Safety. This is a forward-facing document. It will be, once approved, it will be posted on our district's website, just like this current school year's plan is. So the purpose of the presentation, I want to review and discuss the requirements for a school safety plan, conduct a public hearing, that's why we're here this evening, discuss the review process, and then discuss the proposed amendments to our plan. So the requirements for a school safety plan. The overall structure remains as previously approved by NYSED from our current school year's plan. And by way of an introduction, in terms of what the plan specifically does, it establishes the purpose, mission, and goals, and identifies the district-wide school safety team and overall operations, and addresses the review and public comment process. A requirement is that it contains risk reduction, prevention, and intervention strategies. That includes training, drills, exercises, hazard identification, early detection, response, and agency assistance. Another requirement is that it has operational guidance. So we do follow the incident command structure, which is a very specific structure that's followed by EMS, police, OEM, and agencies such as that to respond to crisis that could arrive at any time in a school. Another requirement is that we have an organization and assignment of responsibilities that delineates responsibilities from the board all the way down into the buildings. And lastly, it requires that we have a recovery aspect. So in the event of an emergency, that we do have a way to fully resume normal operations. Good. The revision process, the district-wide Project SAVE Committee reviews the plan. There are NYSED amendments of school regulations. We took input from the building level emergency response teams. The building plans, as Dr. Harney had mentioned, are tied to this document, but those are confidential documents, but they do follow the guidance contained within ours. There was consultation with our school safety consultant, Michael Griffin. There's opportunity for public comment over the next 30 days. And then again, we'll be seeking Board of Education adoption. So proposed amendments to the school safety plan. There's specific updates. There's pertinent changes to team roles and responsibilities to align with staff changes. When positions switch in a district, such as, for instance, I'll use Mr. Haas. He's assigned to the building principal. He has a very specific role within his building. However, in a district-wide safety plan, as the assistant sup for curriculum and instruction, he has a whole different set of responsibilities within the plan. So we'll have to get him acclimated to that role. And obviously, when we bring a high school principal on, they'll be acclimated to their role within their building plan. New state requirements beginning with the 2023-24 school year. Specifically for us, that would be Alyssa's Law and the Emergency Remote Instruction Plan. Alyssa's Law was signed by the governor a couple of months ago that asks districts to consider having a one-button notification in the event of an emergency. We did pilot that. I mentioned that in the safety presentation back in the spring. About 60 of our staff members have the RAVE app, the one-button notification for an emergency. We piloted it, and we're looking for full implementation to all staff in the fall. So we figured, New York State is suggesting it. If they're suggesting it, we're going to, look to mandate that amongst ourselves. And then Appendix C is added to our document now, and that is the Emergency Remote Instruction Plan. As far as the opportunity for public comment, a school district or Board of Cooperative Educational Service shall adopt its safety plan only after at least one public hearing that provides for the participation of school personnel, parents, guardians, persons in parental relationship, students, and any other interested parties. And again, I'm Neil Zarconi. I'm the compliance officer, Project SAVE and Chief Emergency Officer, so I can take questions or suggestions. And if there's anything specific to a building, you may consider reaching out to the building principal because they're responsible for developing that plan with their team.
Thank you so much, Mr. Zarconi. Do we have any questions from trustees? Any questions from anybody here? Not hearing any. Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate it. So I guess moving on to the Smart Schools Bond Act.
All right, so I'm just going to speak about the Smart Bond Scope presentation here. It's our submission number 2 as far as the scope of work that we're looking to get done. So it's directly tied to the environmental goal that the board adopted, specifically environmental goal number 2, to enhance and ensure a safe educational environment. The goals of this presentation, there are 2. To inform the Board of Education and community about the rules and regulations of the Smart Bond Act. And second, describe the type of work the district will implement with the remaining Smart Bond funding. So I'd like to provide you with some background information. So the Smart Bond Act was implemented by New York State in order to improve learning opportunities for students by funding the following types of capital projects: high-speed internet access, wireless connectivity, learning technologies, whether that be interactive whiteboards, computers, or computer servers, constructions to accommodate pre-kindergarten programs, construction to replace classroom trailers, and technology solutions for security, including video surveillance, emergency notification systems, and physical access controls. So there are certain requirements for New York State Smart Schools. School districts are required to submit a Smart School Investment Plan, or SSIP. The improved plans must contain 3 pieces. There must be create a connection between the district's long-term educational planning and technology investments. It must create learning opportunities beyond the classroom through the use of technology, and it must address the educational needs of all students. We must submit formal plans and specifications to SED if SMART funds are to be used for traditional construction. And also note that the district gets reimbursed for all expenditures. Thus, we have to front the money. So I just want to speak a little bit about our Smart Bond, Bayport Blue Point's Smart Bond status and budget. So our Smart Bond amount is $1,518,389. Bayport Blue Point's first SSIP was sent to SED in July of 2016. That first budget was for $1,163,994. Needs were based on technology, speed, access, and reliability. SED denied certain expenditures and asked for clarifying questions in September of 17. Approximately a week later, we revised our SSIP, and as a result, our scope and budget varied slightly from the original submission. So at that point, the scope of electrical work was approved by SED, and we were able to begin work on our first Smart Bond. So I just want to go over what the scope of work was from the first, related to the first SSIP. They all dealt with infrastructure upgrades, and these are completed projects. So there are four main areas. One was wireless access points. A second was switch upgrades. A third was cabling and fiber optics. And the last was security upgrades. So probably the devices that you can physically see, the door access controls and cameras are things that you can physically see out there. The work does include professional programming, engineering, and cabling as well. So, Mr. Frontario, feel free to check my numbers, but I think I'm okay. Here's the budget summary for the first SSIP. That was the original amount that I gave you, total Smart Bond budget, $1,518,389. The approved first submission was $1,124,983. The remaining Smart Bond funds were a balance of $393,406. Add in unused from the first submission, there was an amendment that was made, netting $134,668. So the total available funds for a second Smart Bond submission is $528,074. So the proposed scope of work for our second SSIP has to do with district-wide security cameras and the entire system as a whole. So we're going to remove all analog cameras that are still within our buildings. There's going to be installation of HD surveillance cameras. There's an installation of additional video surveillance cameras that will be high def. The second bullet is the HD cameras that are replacing the removal of the analog. And then there's that third bullet is additional HD cameras on top of it. That'll include interiors of all buildings, all school buildings, exterior of all school buildings. We are going to have an installation of HD video surveillance cameras for the athletic fields. We're going to remove DVR encoder boxes. Those are really tied to the analog cameras. There'll be an installation of a video management system and storage. Milestone X-Protect professional software licenses are involved here. Project management and engineering services as well. So that's all district-wide security camera system. So the process and timeline, the initial board presentation is this evening. This will open up a 30-day public comment period from June through July. It actually extends past the July board meeting, so that's why we're looking for board approval in August of this year. And then we'll make a formal submission to NYSED. Once that's done, and anticipated work to begin, it's really based upon New York State Ed's approval. There is opportunity for questions and comments, and for members of the public that can't be here, we do have an email address that's hot, smartbond@bbpschools.org. If you submit any questions out there from the public, someone will answer you.
Thanks, Mr. Zarcone. Any questions from trustees? Any questions from the community during the hearing? Oh, Ms. Pinkataro.
I'm not sure if there is a solid answer to this, knowing state ed kind of works on their own timeline. But you mentioned that we, as a district, would pay for the work and then we would be reimbursed. Is there a typical timeline for that?
To
receive reimbursement.
I don't know that answer.
It's okay, to receive reimbursement for the work.
It takes a while.
It takes a while. We have to spend it through capital. We have to spend it first, and then we submit. And then it could be, if it took months to just get an approval, we're not going to hang on every dollar we'll spend it. We know we'll get it, but we may have to wait 6 months.
Thank you. Any other trustee? Mr. Johnson?
So I see what the remaining money would do in a lot of security cameras, which is great. But I guess also, are we exploring, or what's an avenue to improve any type of Wi-Fi access to there's areas in the district that are like blackout?
That's already happening, so we didn't need. So in terms of things that we were doing, and Mrs. Kiefer and her staff has been working on it for the last few months, and we're hoping by September, all of that will be in place, especially in some of the buildings that struggle a little bit more than the others. So that is the plan. So that's already been put in place. We actually were able to use some of the ARP money for that, for connectivity.
Any other trustees? Anybody from the community? Mr. Zarcone, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Have a good
Appreciate your night. Appreciate your time. Have a good night. Can I have a motion to leave the school-wide safety plan public hearing and return to the business meeting? Mr. Roan, second by Ms. Conlon. All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. We are back in our business meeting, and we will turn it over to Mr. Frontario for a presentation on reserves and fund balance. And right after that, we will have Dr. Fulton, and they both guarantee us we're going to be out of here by 8:15.
Good evening, and welcome to our reserve presentation and fund balance presentation. And tonight I'm going to cover all the topics in this particular PowerPoint. We're going to review the current reserve balances as of June 30. We're going to discuss where we might be headed for June 30th of 23. Discuss reserves and fund balances as a function of total operating budget, which is a measure that BBP likes to use. Reserve rules, restrictions, and regulations, they are highly regulated reserve funds. Board of Ed resolutions that'll be added that are in your packet for tonight to approve will set funding levels once we know exactly what our audit is completed and how much money we might have to put back in reserves, but we set the levels now so that I don't have to come back to the board in the fall and redo that and any questions or answers. So here's a chart of our reserves for that, and the balances was audited as of June 30th of 2021. We have two retirement system reserves, the ERS and the Teachers Retirement System. We have Employee Benefits Liability Reserve, Accrued Liability Reserve, which is for the payment of sick leave that are in many of our contracts, workers' compensation reserve, and unemployment and insurance reserve. There are other reserves that exist in the world, capital, repair reserve, etc., but these are the ones that are funded right now with our district. This is the same chart, however, it's showing the balances as of June 30 of 2022. When we finished the year, this is the numbers we opened with this year that we're living in, the 22-23 school year. They changed a little bit because we apportion any interest that the reserves earn have to be apportioned throughout the balance of each reserve. So actually, that total from the 2021 to 2022, all total went up about $8,000, and I have a chart that can show you that. Obviously, this is where we will know a little bit better about what we have, audited fund balance for 2023 when our audit is completed, and that'll be the end of September, October, thereabouts. In terms of charts, we have an opening balance. This is how we got to the balance that we're living right now for June 30 of 2022. We had our opening balances for each of the reserves and plus interest earned. Again, we're required to do that. So we apportion the interest amongst the reserves in a prorated manner. That added an additional $8,875 to the total that we used. We didn't use any reserves, even though we planned on possibly using some reserves as revenue, but we didn't need to use it as the year ended. So that balance just gets added to the interest. And again, there were no additions as well. We didn't have money available to add in either. And we finished the year with $9,610,933 in reserves. And that number is a number we open with now in the 22-23 school year. So where will we be at June 30? Obviously, our opening numbers are the numbers we're living right now. And we will need to determine the interest earned. If they need to use any reserves, we have the ability to do it because we've planned on using some if we need them. And then we'd find a new balance. And if we had any additions, unavailable fund balance, and we'll add them back in and based on recommendations and so forth. So at some point around September, October, we will know exactly where we stand in terms of those numbers. As mentioned before, there's a budget function, the reserves and fund balance function with respect as a function of the operating budget. And this is a measure that I never used before until I came to Bayport Blue Point because it's a favorite kind of thing that you like to see. And it's meaningful. If you look at the audited 6/30/21 and audited 6/30/22, you'll notice that if you, it went down a little bit, and you'll notice that if you were to, and you'll have to take my word for this, if you eliminate the reserve for encumbrances and you subtract the two totals, that's the $500,000 that we had to dip into savings, so to speak, to pay our bills in that regard. That's where it dropped by $500,000. In terms of the projected for June 30th of 23, right now I'm projecting that each of those reserves will get interest earnings. You'll notice also that the appropriated fund balance is going down because that's where the lights were, and that's gone. So, and I'm working it, instead of taking it down to $1,684,000, which is the number we have used in the past number of years as appropriated fund balance, I took it down, and I'm going to take it down in 2 steps. So I brought it to $1,884,000. And then, of course, the unappropriated, I'm assuming that we can have actually 4%. So I added 4% to the proposed, but the voted upon budget for next year. Reserve for encumbrances, I just guessed at a number. So this is just a starting point, so to speak, for us at 18.1. But of course, it would drop. If nothing else, if everything stayed the same, it would drop because the lighting is now expensed. In terms of fund balance, I went back in history because I know that, everybody seemed to be rattled by the fact that our fund balance dropped a bit, but it's kind of a historical kind of data. And if you go back and look, it's like any industry. It has a cycle, and sometimes they're up, sometimes they're down. So as you can see, from 2012 to 2016, we kind of steadily dropped, and then started to work our way up. When we got to 2018-19, it leveled off. Then it went up again in 20. 21 was the COVID year, which left us with money, again, to do the lights and other things. And then, as you can see, we dropped off a little bit. That's that $500,000 drop in 2022. And, of course, question mark as to where we'll be in 2023. We'd like to continue to go up and down. But, again, we budget reasonable budgets that are based on reality and staffing and labor contracts and estimates of state expenses, retirement system, FICA, all of those kinds of things, and health insurance, and then it's a year in advance, and then life happens. And just like in your own personal life, sometimes things the roof cost you more than you thought. These are the kinds of things. The interest rates went higher than we could have imagined. So those are the kinds of things that are going to be impacting on us when we get to 2023. But anybody could raise a budget by 20% if you want to be, have a real major cushion. But that doesn't make any sense in terms of a school district budget. So you do the best you can, and then life happens. In terms of, I promised I'd give you a little bit of detail about the reserves. This is the definitions, as you will. This is the ERS, Employees Retirement System. General Municipal Law 6-R is the thing in the law that provides districts with the ability to do that. There's no statutory limit on how much you can put in the reserves, but frankly, the comptroller would tell you when you have too much. And right now, our current balance is about $4,298,898. No, it's exactly that. Our expense is about $1,000,001, and right now we're funded at about 81%. We'd like to get up to the 100% funding by adding another year, but that may take some time to do. Again, we'll definitely be adding interest. And I have the possibility of using those reserves if I need to when we close our books. This is the retirement system for teachers' retirement system, and it's really a sub-fund of the ERS reserve. And it's our teachers' retirement system expense is about 3.4 almost for 22-23. The current reserve has $894,869 in it. And there are a few more restrictions than there are in some other reserves. For example, the contribution to this sub-fund are limited to, in a school year, to 2% of all eligible TRS compensation. So if I thought that if we had $37 million in TRS compensation in this school year, 2% of that is $740. We could not add more than that to this reserve if that the case was, and the money was available. But you're kind of maxed out after a while in terms of how much you can do. Ultimately, we could probably have at least a full year or two of TRS contributions and be within reasonable limits. The Employee Benefits Accrued Liability, EBLAR, again, we're General Municipal Law 6-P, provides districts with the ability to do that. Our current balance in the reserve is $3,098,622. We have to, each year, the business office determines what the long-term liability is with respect to compensated absences. Then our auditors review them for reasonableness, and that's usually sets the tone for how big the ebb loss should be. Right now, we're funded at about 73%. If we could be a little bit higher than that, like 4.2 million, we're probably spot on perfect. We'll look to add more as we can. Obviously, we're going to be hitting it a little bit for the retirement incentives that are coming, but we would save on the expenditure side of the budget with that and hopefully be able to put money back in when we get to year end. Workers' compensation reserve, our expense is about $541,000. Our current reserve has $1,140,269 in it. We're limited to technically to the amount of the long-term liability, which we have an actuary accounting system that actually does the study for us to help us determine what that is. And we're somewhere about $1.8 million at the moment. So we're pretty much right on there at about 98% of where we need to be. I did predict that we might need some as revenue, but hopefully we won't have to do that when we close the year, and we'll just be able to add some interest. Reserve for unemployment, this is where the comptroller came in and said, you have a way overfunded unemployment reserve. And it's true, we didn't have much in the way of expenditures. We're not going to add a nickel to it, even though I have a resolution to recommend up to $500,000. We're not really going to add a nickel to this one. And maybe at some point in time, depending upon situation, we might look to see how we can move money out. There are very strict parameters for how you go about that, but it can be done if we wanted to move money from this reserve to other reserves. Repair reserve, we have it in place, meaning we have the board has established it in 2019, but we need voter approval and a transfer to repair reserve in order to fund it. We haven't done that yet. It's sort of like the transfer to capital that we had in this year, the budget we just passed, we'd have another line called transfer to repair reserve. A dollar amount would be in there. Budget passes, and then we can fund it. And then when we want to use it, we need a public hearing. So all of these reserves have very prescribed manners, the way you handle them, very specific about how you go about it. So we'd have to have a public hearing, except in emergencies, but again, you have to define that emergency very carefully in order to be sure you're on solid ground. Appropriated fund balance, that's the $1,684,000 that we have been giving back over the years to sort of fill the hole that we determined we want to not have to raise by taxes per se. Technically, that's like we were supposed to back into like we're a deficit and then use the appropriated reserves to fill it. And the comptroller came in and did our audit. They said, you didn't need to do that because you were ending up with much higher balances. That's when the numbers were going up. But really, it's just a matter of a good faith effort to just keep taxes as low as we possibly can by appropriating a number that makes sense. Unassigned fund balance, that's that 4% number that we hear about, the number that we can leave, fund and not exceed. Actually, this year, the 2022 balance is $2,975,24, which represents 3.67 of the current year's budget, and hopefully we'll get to that point, not higher. The only year we ever did that was in my experiences with the lights, and where we were exceeding it because of COVID, and so much money was left over from that at that point in time. We're back to much normal times now. In terms of the resolutions, this is what you'll see, or actually in your board packet. We're going to set the limit for ERS to add to it at the end of 22-23 of $2 million, not to exceed $1 million to teachers' retirement system, not to exceed EBLAR, not to exceed $1.5 million, workers' comp not to exceed $2 million, and unemployment not to exceed $500,000. Again, these are just limits just picked out into the universe, so to speak, so that I don't have to come back to you and ask to change it. Then obviously we'll set real limits once the audit is complete in October. Any questions?
Yeah, so going back to ERS, you were 81% funded, and you mentioned in the funding justification, we may not have any funds available to add to that based on how we finish out 22-23, but at the end, you kind of mentioned $700,000 may be used as revenue for.
Well, yeah, I budgeted that, appropriated reserves. If you recall, we had tax levy, so we had the.
Why would we have to use $700,000 of that reserve towards?
Well, it's a best practice. I've had it. I had $700,000 in employee in ERS and $427,000 for workers' comp. So it's a balancing number. We have the money. If we were to need it when we close our books, we would use it. Ideally, the best practice is to use your reserves, then use your available balance and put the money back wherever you possibly can.
I understand the hypothetical.
Right.
Just when I read that, I kind of get into this mindset of like, wait a second, are we anticipating the need for a $700,000 shortfall somewhere?
No, it's not necessarily a $700,000.
That's how you would close
Right.
the budget. You would
Right.
you would move the money out of ERS and you'd use the reserves to plug that.
Right, and it's, again, it's one of the revenue items that we use to balance the budget. Just like we have tax levy, we have appropriated reserves, we have miscellaneous revenue, and then the last line is appropriation of reserves. And then there is the two numbers, that the $700,000 and the $427,000 that were used to get us to a point in balance.
And then similar to workers' comp, there's a mention of may have to use 427. Like I said, if
Again,
I'm
it's a
reading
safety
that
net.
on the surface, I'm looking at this as like, hey, we may have a $1 million hole to fill up, and we may have to use these.
Well, those numbers were developed a year ago. I wouldn't know what whole.
Okay.
But again, it was just to be in balance and to say that we have the reserves, we should use the reserves, and then we should put them back.
Okay.
Wherever we can. And
No,
sometimes we
just the way
can't.
I read it, I'm reading it as like, are we
Right.
anticipating a shortfall, or are we executing on?
Again, I'm not sure where we'll end up, but if we needed to do it, we would show it in our expenditures, we would show it in our plan, and we would show it, coming back.
And the last question I have is, we might have discussed this a while ago, Dr. Harney. $521,000 a year for disability sounds like a lot of money to me. That means that seems like a lot of people to be on disability. So my first question is, why are we not insured for this? Is there a rule or is there a law that states that we can't seek insurance?
Workers' comp insurance?
We're a third party
we
can
are
pursue the
self-insured.
validity of workers' compensation and maintain it.
We are in self-insured for workers' comp, and we use.
We're self-insured. What?
Yeah. And
Meaning, do we pay the direct 521 based
We
on
work-
what the direct cost is?
we work with a consultant, a third-party administrator, if you will, who helps us with the claims and administering that part of it. But we've been self-insured for quite some time.
But we paid, so if we have $400,000 worth of, or $521,000 worth of actual
that's-
claims, we pay that directly. So if 10 people next year go on disability, that's going to balloon up to over $1 million.
Well, we have people that are on disability for many years even.
But I'm saying, is there a way that we can just be insured by a third party?
We have a third-party insurer that's there like a reinsurer.
And we just pay an insurance rate and they handle what the payouts are, like the private sector does?
There are components to it. Our funding, the third-party administrator who helps us with claims and all the legalese stuff, and representing us in court if necessary or whatever it happens to be. And then we have an insurance policy to mitigate if we were really into,
My only
something.
concern is we're a school district, right? We're good at managing school. We're good at educating children and doing all the stuff that goes. I don't think we're really suited for, making sure we're not being subjected to disability fraud claims and stuff like that. I think
We have investigators that, believe me,
yeah, but
we're
like I
not
said,
doing that work.
We're not I mean, we have to hire outside investigators, but we're not really structured for that. There are companies out there that we pay them to insure us for that, and when the claim comes up, they have their, you know, that's their entire business model, is to ensure that these are valid claims and there's nothing. Is there a reason why we'd self-insure? Is there any way we can pursue like an outside insurance company?
We're probably saving money by doing this, I would imagine. Everywhere I've gone, districts have moved away from it because you don't have much control. And this is much more in control. I'd say wherever we have control, we're better off than not. And there's a tail to these that go out into the future. We have an actuarial firm. Part of the footnotes in our audit is going to be on workers' comp. And, you know, some of these things could go out 5, 6, 8, 10 years. So we're in good shape in that regard, frankly.
Any other questions from trustees? I would just say, I know we talked about the repair reserve. That's not one of the reserves, though, that we're putting money into. Is that still an option, or is tonight the last night to have a not to exceed?
We, in terms of the repair reserve itself,
Yeah.
we wouldn't be able to do this till we start to budget for 24, 25.
No, I know, but would
I'm
we able
sorry.
to put something in place that not to exceed, very similar to what we're doing right now? A
To
resolution.
do a, we can't fund the repair reserve at this point because we haven't.
Because we didn't put anything in the budget.
Right. So it would be kind of a moot point to do that.
Got it. Any other trustee questions? Mr. Frontieri, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Dr. Fulton, we will pass it over to you for the last presentation tonight. And I believe this is your last presentation in Bayport Blue Point.
It is. It's
I'm sure
amazing
you were
it came.
super excited to do this one.
All right, so we have to periodically, to receive funds for the American Rescue Plan, district is required to provide an update to the community and to the Board of Education with regards to allocations, any changes to the spending plan, then gets posted to the website so you can have it. Mr. Haas will do the next update sometime in the early fall. So good luck, Mr. Haas. So we're going to detail what we spent this year and what we're going to project, because if you remember, the American Rescue Plan the funds will conclude in the 2023-24 school year. So again, everything that we do with regards to are based on our district goals, and with the American Rescue Plan, we really focused, there was areas for learning and areas for environment and also equitable use of our resources. So the requirements, again, the district, and these were mandated within the language when we began to receive the funds. Again, you can see plan must be revised every 6 months until September 2023, which will be the last required update, and then one afterwards. And you have to maximize instruction time, operating schools, meeting the needs of students, technology needs, and strategies for students' wellness and academic support. So if you take a look for June 15th for our funding allocation, our original budget under Carissa for social emotional was $83.90, and that's what we targeted. For technology, we could see that there's been an increase of approximately $30,000, which I'll detail in a later slide. Remember, when this first started, we did have money allocated and budgeted for PPE and supplies, but as we've come further out of the pandemic, it turns out that those supplies and things that we anticipated in the course of that time were not needed. And then we did put, and again, from the original allocation, increased amount of money to increase our HVAC, our physical plant. All the research shows that when you have filtration and air systems and things of that nature, that it's beneficial for the student's health. Our original allocation of $83.90 for a classroom teacher, we actually completed that in the first year, 21-22 of the American Rescue Plan. For our original allocation, $246,631, we actually, for the installation of smart boards, and you'll see that the increase of $30,000 later was for the installation of additional smart technology. Now, as we take a look, this is what I just kind of talked about earlier. These were some of our proposed expenditures for PPE supplies.
And as you can see, these are some of these things now that we don't need to allocate funds for. We do have some of these things that are in stock with regards to as needed, but not to the level that we anticipated, and so we're able to reallocate that money. And again, due to changing conditions and district needs, that PPE money, we reallocated it to purchase additional smart boards and additional smart technology. Some of the projects that we had originally slated, you can see the proposed expenditures, then you can see the total expenditures. So I've highlighted in green that increase of approximately $30,000 for smart boards. Some of the things you can see work in progress. These projects are still on the books. Some have been completed. The kindergarten sink at Sylvan, for example, was a little bit $5,000 over budget. But then you could see as things are still, the middle school air handler sealed and replacements, $92,000, but still work in project. We still do have some projects in the planning stage, but if you notice again, the Blue Point HVAC faculty room, originally proposed expenditure, $28,000, but as we make some changes with regards to certain things, so the HVAC faculty room wasn't necessarily done, but was switched with the boiler replacement. And so we did some things, but the work in progress means, again, total expenditures be completed by the end of next school year. So Brian and his team are working to complete these projects. So again, just some different for work in progress. We have the upgrade for BMS control, that's for heating control, district-wide connectivity, work still in progress, HVAC repairs district-wide, and then money is allocated for outdoor learning centers and faculty rooms, and then electrical work for the Academy Street electrical subpanel. Some of these things for electric and heat, whenever you're dealing with boilers or HVAC units, sometimes it requires an electrical upgrade. Other things that we had planned, again, this is kind of repairs for carpentry, electric painting. These are some of those, whenever you're doing work, these are always anyone who's done a project at home. You fix the one thing that's connected, but then you got to do some other things around it for some of the cosmetics and electric and painting. And so again, we had $130,000 planned, and right now we've spent $107,461 of that proposed expenditure. So again, as we're just taking a look, there's some different projects coming in as compared to switching out the high school isolation negative air project. We're now looking with regards to electronic panels. For the Blue Point, the isolation room abatement, as in we don't right now necessarily have a need for an isolation anymore. So that's work now. We're working on the HVAC in that room. And you can see the project was completed. And some of these things are coming in over budget a little bit just because of inflation and from the time when we originally priced them out. And now, we have increases. And you can see that there's some of the money allocated for the outdoor learning spaces, which will be utilized by the different buildings when they're completed. Just again, the original ARP spending plan, underneath the language within the American Rescue Plan, you had to allocate certain money towards learning loss, certain amount of money for social emotional wellness. We had a grand total of approximately $786,193 to be spent through the end of next school year. So our guidance counselor, our social worker, and our wellness clubs is where that's where you can see that wellness component piece for it. And you can see from the end of this year, for the first year, that was last school year, we had our guidance counselor, that's our part-time guidance counselor that split at the elementary school. At the time, we had not hired the social worker who started the wellness clubs, but we were able to do that this year. So you can now see that the guidance counselor, again, that's a part-time guidance counselor at the elementary level, but now one of our social workers that were hired last year is going to be paid for this school year and potentially next school year in budget. Wellness clubs, if you notice from the original money we had allocated, all the clubs are up and running now, the 5 wellness clubs, but they started at different points of the year. So we will have a little money available because the original money would have been allocated for if they had been up and running in September. So again, our proposed social emotional learning allocations, you can see that for next school year, the guidance counselor is in there, a social worker is in there, and our wellness club advisors are in there. For expenditures to conclude, which they must be concluded by June 30th, 2024. Now we can take a look at that learning loss allocation, because if you remember, that was just the second component that was mandated, and this was our original 3-year plan. As you can take a look, the kindergarten readiness program, that's 2 teachers, 2 teacher assistants. We were looking to have AIS teacher, This is what we were looking for in the beginning, after-school support at the high school, and a teacher assistant. So this is what we were looking for, and also that was our original allocation for what our Q-School program was. So as you know, when you start any plan, this is what we've actually spent it. So as you can see, our summer readiness program for the incoming kindergarten students, which enrollment is up this year again, so we're very excited for that program. We actually then used the money for 2 instructional teachers during the July 21 to June 30, 22. So last school year, we used 2 instructional teachers to try to provide smaller class size and academic support. And as you could look, our original planned allocation, because we had originally $160,000 for Q school over 3 years, we had actually spent $208,000 in just the 1 school year last year. So thankfully, as things have changed, we no longer require to have the Q school, which allows us to at least keep that money that was allocated in other areas. So now we should take a look as what we're looking for. This was this school year. We have kindergarten readiness program because it was last summer that's paid for this year. The secondary academic support did start in the spring, so it just those bills and that money just hasn't hit yet with regards to that there will be money coming. So that's after school help for Regents classes at both the middle school and the high school. And we had $181 that for whatever reason it was something that was passed that we had to for Q school to be able to. So that means that during the summer there must have been a timesheet that had come through after that time. So now as we take a look with regards to what we anticipate for this upcoming school year, again, we have the kindergarten readiness program and the academic support. Money will be available for Regents after school help, or again, for both the middle school and high school. And there you have it, the American Rescue Plan for this school year.
Thank you, Dr. Fulton. Any questions? Thank you so much, sir. We appreciate it, and we'll definitely miss you. Thank you, Dr. Fulton. Moving on to consent agenda, are there any items the board would like removed from the consent agenda and placed on the regular agenda?
So moved.
Not hearing any, I'm going to, can I have a motion to approve consent agenda items J, K, L, M, and N? And I'm going to go with Ms. Conlon.
Yeah.
Second by Mr. Johnson. All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries 7-0. Moving on to the regular agenda. Can I have a motion to gratefully accept the cash donations listed below? Ms. Arone, second.
Second.
Mrs. Conley, just a quick discussion. Do want to thank Academy Street Elementary School, who is donating money for the Carly Lestrange Scholarship Memorial Fund Trust Agency for $723. Let's thank the Suffolk Transportation Service. They're going to be donating $4,000 to the Bayport Blue Point High School General Scholarship Fund, and the M&T Charitable Foundation is $25,000 for the Bayport Blue Point High School Wellness Center. So thank you so much. As always, we appreciate your donations. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Can I have a motion to adopt policy 5300, our code of conduct?
So moved.
Ms. Conley, second.
Second.
Ms. Pignataro, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries 7-0. I'll just go ahead and read all these. Can I have a motion to review the second reading of policy 8410, transportation, 0115, student harassment and bullying prevention and intervention, policy 5710, school safety and educational climate reporting, policy 8130, school safety plans and teams, and policy 8140, unsafe school transfer choice?
So moved.
Ms. Pignataro, second.
Second.
Ms. Conley, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Can I have a motion to review the first reading of 4327R, Alternative Home Instruction Regulation, 5100, Comprehensive Attendance Policy, 5415, Student Alcohol, Drugs, and Other Controlled Substances Use and Abuse?
So moved.
Ms. Cerrone, second.
Second.
Ms. Pignataro, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Can I have a motion to Sorry, can I have a motion for policy 2410, formulation, adoption, and amendments of policies requires a repeal of any policy to be completed with 2 readings, whereas the superintendent has recommended the board policy 0115R, DASA regulation, and policy 8114, transportation and student field trips, analytics, be repealed. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Ms. Kanye, second. Ms. Pignataro, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Can I have a motion to waive the second reading to abolish policy 0115R, DASA regulation, and 8415, transportation for field trips and athletics?
So moved.
Ms. Kanye, second. Mr. Krug coming out of nowhere. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? That's usually where she saves that for an adjournment usually. Any community new business? Any trustee new business? Can I have a motion to adjourn to exec session for the purposes of the employment of a particular individual? Mr. Krug, second. Mr. Johnson, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you guys so much. Thank you for staying. Appreciate your time. Have a great night, and we'll see you at the reorg meeting.
Thanks, Suzanne. That was not as bad as I thought it was going to be. 8:30. I thought